What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update with a lovely setting behind us. The sun is setting here and it's a beautiful backdrop we've got for you today. We're going to be talking about Giovanni Lo Celso first up. And first and foremost, Estadio say that Giovanni Lo Celso is unimpressed by his current situation. The midfielder only chose to remain at Tottenham last summer due to promises about game time made by Ange Postecoglou, but he believes the manager broke such promises. There is now a dialogue between the two, and Giovanni is training away from the squad. Lo Celso wants to leave English football and ideally return to Spain despite interest from Aston Villa. However, there is a report from Fabrizio Romano that says Lo Celso is expected to leave Tottenham in the next few days. Well, tomorrow's the final day of the window, isn't it? So by tomorrow,
yeah.
And Real Betis are really pushing for him. And Mati Moretto says that with the departure of Nabil Fekir from Betis now, Betis do want to try and accelerate the move for Giovanni Lo Celso. It is understood that the Argentinian is the chosen profile. And so it looks like Giovanni Lo Celso could be on his way to Betis. Romano also said that Betis are pushing for Lo Celso as a top target since June. Lo Celso expected to leave Spurs in the final days with Fekir on his way out. So it does seem like a natural replacement, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's no surprise that he's going to be gone. I mean, it's not a shock to anyone. I think you're seeing at this point a lot of teams looking to get rid of players come the deadline. You're seeing, Juventus who were pretty stubborn on a 25 million to 30 million fee on Chiesa. They had to go as low as like 10 million to allow him to go to Liverpool.
Great signing by Liverpool, by the way.
But you're seeing a lot of teams compromise, and I think a lot of teams. I think Spurs will have to do the same. I can see Lo Celso going for a really cheap deal, potentially alone. In terms of that report from Estadio, I mean, it's littered with errors, in my opinion. First of all, I think apparently he's been pictured with the squad training, so I don't know about him training away from the team. I think that's a bit of rubbish. And also, in terms of broken promises from Ange, I mean, he was getting game time before he got injured. Like, he was playing.
There were a lot of opportunities where he could have played and where he probably should have played and he didn't.
Yeah, but there was also, he was getting run of the team and then he got injured. Like, it wasn't Ange's fault he got injured, was it?
Even when he returned from injury, he never really seemed to get a place back then. Even when Maddison was injured, all our creative midfielders were injured, he still couldn't get a look in.
Yeah, maybe he could have played a bit more, but I don't think that's totally on Ange's fault with his lack of game time. I think his injuries played a big part of that.
But whose fault is it when we've got a lack of creativity in midfield and he refuses to play our only creative outlet in there?
I mean, we got Decky, you got Lo Celso. I mean, he played them. I don't know.
Decky was playing on the right, and who else did you say?
Maddison.
Maddison was injured.
But that's the thing. When Maddison was injured, he was going to play Lo Celso, but he got injured.
But also, what I'm saying is, when he came back, Maddison was still injured, and he still didn't want to play.
No, I don't think is that true.
Yeah.
I think if Maddison was injured, Lo Celso was getting the nod, wasn't he? A lot of the time.
No, not all the time. Not all the time. After, I think it was January, it was really hard for Lo Celso to get any minutes. He was coming on maybe in the last...
Maddison was back in January.
No, well, Maddison wasn't playing well, or something was going on where Lo Celso, we were all calling for Lo Celso to play, and he wasn't playing.
But anyway, look, it's no surprise he's going to leave. He's not going to be involved in the European squad. So we're going to have to compromise on the deal. I can see Betis, trying to get a really cheap deal now because it's a deadline. They know we're leaving him out. He's probably got 1 year left on his deal, or I think. I'm assuming this could be under 10 million at this point.
Yeah, and it's no surprise to me, to be honest. I felt like this has been the plan from Betis all along. We actually reported something similar at the beginning of the window, that Betis are going to bide their time to make sure that they get the lowest fee possible for Giovanni Lo Celso and make sure that Tottenham are in kind of panic mode to get him out the window, got him out the door, and it seems like that's where we're at the moment.
Because for these unwanted players, I can see clubs starting to really prioritise just getting rid of them, even at a compromise, whereas maybe in years gone by that we might have held firm on a stronger fee.
To be fair, we've been doing that all window, haven't we?
So I'm saying this summer, I'm saying,
yeah. Next up, Fabrizio Romano says not only Lo Celso, Sergio Reguilon also prepared to leave Spurs before the end of the window. Talks ongoing for the best option. And Fabrizio Romano also said, well, it's the same thing. So
cheers, Fabrizio.
Talk ongoing.
Reguilon wants to leave before the end of the window. What a shocker. I mean, it's no surprise.
Again, we need answers in the next 24 hours, pretty much.
look, regardless of what happens, they're not going to be in the squad. So from Tottenham's, or European squad anyway. So from Tottenham's point of view, does it matter that much? I mean, obviously they want him out the door. They want to get rid of him. If they stay, it's only going to hurt the player. The club's not going to be that affected
You don't
by
want
it.
someone like that just hanging around though. It could cause like negativity within the camp. You know how Ange prides himself on that kind of stuff, and I don't think he's going to want him around at all, him or Lo Celso.
I'm sure that's a preferable situation. So we definitely look. I'm just saying it's not like this, dire situation where if we're screwed if we can't get rid of them. If we can't get rid of them, then that's it. They're not going to be able to be in the squad. And obviously it's not ideal. I doubt it'll affect things too much. But I'm sure for Reguilon and Lo Celso, they hope that they can find homes in the next 24 hours.
In my personal opinion, I think if they can't find clubs in the next 24 hours before the window shuts, then Spurs, it's best probably for Spurs just to release them.
Probably.
Let's talk about a couple of academy players. Tottenham midfielder George Abbott is set to join League Two side Notts County on a season-long loan deal. The versatile 19-year-old Spurs academy player made his debut a couple of seasons ago for Spurs in the Premier League. And we did hear from Ali Gold saying that, he could be pushing for the first team or first team squad this year, but it looks like he is going to be going out on League Two.
That's positive. Getting more small experience. I think in the pre-season he looked quite bright in his few cameos. I don't think he was looking at a level where that he was going to be able to contribute in the Premier League just yet. I think he needs to kind of find first of all where his best position is, where he sees his future, and also I think he needs to develop a bit more physically. But he definitely, obviously, had a lot of energy. I remember when he came on, a lot of pressing, a lot of tenacity. So hopefully he can develop those kind of qualities out on loan. But I think he needs to kind of find himself, because I'm not sure he knows what he is just yet in terms of what kind of position. So going out on loan will help that, hopefully.
Just seems he's like a jack of all trades, isn't he? And I'll be excited to see what he does in League Two, because there's a lot of high hopes for him. At a young age last season, in a very successful team, he was captaining the side. So there are very high hopes for him. So I'll be excited to see what happens as well with Tyrese Hall, who is available on loan before the summer deadline on Friday. That should the right club come forward with guaranteed minutes, and that's from Ali Gold.
Yeah, another interesting one, because he had a fairly bright pre-season, a few cameos. I actually thought, watching him play, he looks like he's a real promising prospect. He seems to be composed beyond his years. He seems to have a bit of quality about him as well. I actually feel like watching him, it won't be too long before he's ready, to play in the Premier League and whatnot. But I think a loan deal, playing in defensive midfield, will really help him. Obviously, there was even some talk back in the last season will Hall compete for a first team spot next season. But it looks like we're going to trust Basuma, Bentancur and Archie Gray for that position this season. So I don't think there's any room for Hall right now.
Yeah, it looks like it. And as well, another player who I'm really excited about, and every time I've seen him play, particularly for the under-21s, he's been a proper shining light. He scored 2 goals on the opening day of the season, the under-21s against Chelsea in a 2-1 win. And I felt like on the tour, maybe in the first game he looked really good, but I thought in a couple of games there he did look a little bit out of his depth. So look, young player, high hopes, got a big future ahead of him. And last but not least, the CONMEBOL has suspended 5 Uruguay players due to their involvement in the incidents with fans during the Copa America semi-final against Colombia. Darwin Nunez has got a 5-game suspension with a $20,000 fine. Rodrigo Bentancur has a 4-game suspension with a $16,000 fine. Ronald Araujo, Matias Oliveira and Jose Maria Gimenez all has a 3-game suspension with a $12,000 fine. So is this just for internationals? Is it for club level?
Internationals.
It's only for internationals.
Yeah, it's CONMEBOL.
All right,
so it's just international level. So he ain't going to be missing any Spurs games, but still, it's not nice for him to have to go through that. Obviously, I thought
Probably good for us, to be honest.
Bentancur's probably one of the more guilty parties on that incident, throwing bottle into the crowd and apparently it cut the head of someone in the crowd. So obviously there was always going to be punishments for what happened in that game. Again, we know there were security issues, and the Uruguay players felt like they had to do what they did, but it was never going to go unpunished. The way they went into the crowd. I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it. I'm saying the FA or the CONMEBOL, were always going to punish them. So
there's one thing going into the crowd to protect your family, like Darwin Nunez did, and I think he had every right to do that. But Bentancur was just very silly, just aimlessly just throwing a bottle pretty much into a crowd,
Yeah,
which is
it's
just
not
silly.
great. Yeah.
But anyway, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section below. Just over 24 hours to go until the window shuts. So let's see if there are any surprises, eh?
Romano says, the Odegaard deal was done in secret, so he's got a feeling there might be one more deal in the offing for Spurs. I just can't see where another deal comes in, but I'll be happy to be pleasantly surprised tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
Come
come
on,
on,
you
you Spurs.
Spurs.